Hey there, and welcome to another edition of HiiVE Podcast, introducing you to the eXp Realty trailblazers and newsmakers that are aligning under one brokerage and creating a movement in the real estate industry. I'm your HiiVE host, Sam Rodriguez. What is all the buzz? Hey, Mark, thanks so much for taking the time and joining us today on this latest episode of HiiVE Podcast, where we talk about all the real estate buzz, especially all about eXp, since eXp happens to be all the talk of the town. So thanks so much for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, Sam.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And Mark, we're gonna talk about a couple fun topics, but the first one I think is one of my favorite topics, which is about productivity. And you and your group have been absolutely crushing it. Mark, your group is out in Washington. I know you're covering numerous markets, but primarily the Spokane market,
Yep.
Right? And so looking at your production numbers, and we're gonna looking forward to hearing about the journey there. Over 330 transactions, about 80 million closed volume with a group of about 40 or so agents. So I commend you for that, because that's a giant book of business, and I love getting to meet people just like you on a regular basis.
Thank you.
So love hearing about that. So how, kind of backing up, how did you get to that level of business? I know it didn't happen overnight, and you want to share a little bit about the progress and even up to building the team only a few short years ago?
Sure. I'll even go a little further back. I've been in real estate actually since 1998, over in the Portland, Vancouver area, when I first got into real estate, and I used to flip houses. So I got my license so I wouldn't have to deal with realtors pretty much, which is probably
I hear that all the time.
And so I got my license in 98, flipped houses till about 2007 and I was way over leveraged and built some condos, and then the market crashed. And so I got out of real estate altogether. Obviously it was by choice, but not by choice, because we lost everything. So I keep failing forward. So we moved from the Vancouver area to Spokane because our daughter and son were going to college over here. And the more we visited, the more we liked the area. And so after we moved here, I helped my wife start her business. She does bookkeeping and QuickBooks consulting. So I did the marketing and sales for it from 2009 to about 2013. And we grew that company. She had about 6 or 7 employees, and then she recently sold it last year. But in 2013, I decided to get my real estate license again. But we went from being on the Kiyosaki plan of using other people's money and having a bunch of debt, right, to the Dave Ramsey program in 2008 to not having any debt. So I sleep a lot better at night now because I don't have any debt other than our house. So 2013 in June, I got my license. I was with one brokerage. I asked them, what should I do? And they said, go to your sphere of influence. It's like, well, I've only lived here for like 4 years, so I'm going to go broke. And so I started calling for sale by owners and expireds. And they said, oh yeah, a lot of new agents try that at first, but it usually lasts about a week or two. So they weren't a whole lot of help. And so I figured I might as well go to a discounted brokerage because they weren't helping me at all. And then I started doing some online advertising and started having some success there. I sold 12 houses my first 6 months. And then my first full year, I hired a business coach actually. And then that person helped me talk about leverage. And I hired my first assistant I hired him in January, hired her in February. And then I sold 68 houses my first full year.
Wow. 68 in the first year. That's amazing. I mean, I love hearing those stories. And it's funny because I one of my favorite sayings is, how many nights does it take to become an overnight success? You had a business before, you stopped that, did something else for a little bit, and then you jump started again. But, and it sounds like you did move pretty quickly at that point, but then you started to actually build the team then only about 4 years or so ago?
Yeah, 2015 is when I started my team, and then we sold 109 houses. The 2 people I had on my team both quit the next year. So I had to start over again. And then I went through a few people and then got 2 really good people on my team. And they're still with me, Rip and Kyle. And so that year we didn't grow as much. We only sold 114 houses. And then the following year we really started. And then I switched over and got actually the next year I had a Tom Ferry coach. in 2015, 2016, I had Devin as my coach, who's now with eXp.
Yeah.
He helped me a lot in my mindset and how to grow and stuff like that. So the next year we sold 151 houses. 171 houses. The next year we sold 252 houses. And then last year, 332 houses.
That's amazing.
And this year, our goal is 450 houses. So
that's awesome. Well, you talked about failing forward, and I'm hearing a little bit about that. It's success is never like that. We all wish it was. But you also talk about for those taking note, because you said only 112, I think, on one of those. But success leaves clues. We've heard that one a million times too. You had a coach, you hired a coach, helped with the mindset. So for those out there hearing your story, Mark, that it wasn't just that, you got lucky. But other successful agents, it's not a whole lot different, is it? If you talk to somebody maybe a lot like yourself, production wise, their journey might have been a little different, but as far as getting there is, again, it's not rocket science. It's implementing the same things you talked about, whether it's door knocking or calling on expireds as well. Anything will work as long as you stick to it and have a game plan.
Well, that's what I've learned and heard from people is that there's, lots of different ways to lead generate, to find new clients, to prospect. And I think people need to find out what works best for them, because you know what? I found out that for sale by owners and expireds weren't my forte, but I did hire an ISA to do it because I wasn't great at it. And so then that ISA made those calls for me. But internet leads, I was really good at it. I could follow up, and I knew how to follow up, and then I could teach other people how to follow up. I haven't been great at my sphere of influence and follow up, but then as we've grown, we've gotten people on our team that are, and then they teach other people how to do it. And we do client appreciation parties now, which I don't like doing, but I found people on my team that like doing it. And so I'm fine. That's, I think my breakthrough was about 3 or 4 years ago when Devin helped me with my mindset to get other people. My team was flat pretty much. Basically, I had everybody on the team reporting to me, and I had to find other leaders that were better at different things than I was. I could do a lot of things pretty well, but there's a lot of people that can do this one thing very well, and this other thing great, and this other thing great. And so now I've found a lot of people that do a lot of things better than I do. We've got a guy that does onboarding, which I'm terrible at. And so Kyle brings on all of our new agents. And I've got Drew, who does a lot of recruiting for us, and Rip and Cody, who do a lot of role play and training for us and stuff like that. So I've got people on our team that have really stepped up, and it's taken me and my ego to let other people do that. And once I did that, then I was able to expand my team to bigger heights, I guess.
Yeah, you talked about that leverage, and I 100% big fan of leverage. But you're right; it's also leveraging with the right folks. Because if you went and hired another person with your same profile, neither of you are going to get that part of the job done, right? So
no, I'd hate to have somebody like me working for me.
I think a lot of us, or sometimes we do want to clone ourselves, but maybe it'd be difficult to still work with somebody just like ourselves. I get that. Mark, so you built up this successful team over the years. It continues to grow, and I love hearing how it's and you're on pace to continue to have yet another record-breaking year. Next level of success. You made the move over to eXp now about 45 days or so ago. Okay,
about
30 days.
Ago. Yeah.
So why eXp? Why uproot a major? A lot of agents. That's about 40 agents or so too that you brought over. What was it? What was it that was attractive to you and to your team and to your growth? Because I know you're a growth-minded guy. Continue to look at where to next. What was it that was attractive to you?
I was with Keller Williams for about 4 years, and then I've looked at eXp a little bit, but kind of from the outside, and I thought it was more of like a recruiting company, like Avon or something like that. And it's like I don't really want to do that, and so I never really looked at it into depth. And then my coach, Devin, he was a coach a few years ago, because I changed coaches about every year and a half. Nothing against any of my coaches. I learned different things from each one of them, but that's the way my mind works. But when I saw that he moved over, then I said, well, I should give him a call. And so I gave him a call, find out why, and everything else that eXp has to offer. And I was kind of, Keller Williams helped me a lot with my mindset and talking to other agents and team leaders about how they've grown their team. But I kept running into a roadblock of doing expansion. I'd have to go to another market center, and then I go there, and then they've got another full cap and half caps and all this kind of stuff, and a whole different market center where they've got different rules and different personalities. And so there's a city that's in another state, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is basically 30 minutes from us. But we failed going there 3 different times. And I feel because of that, because like agents that would go over there, it's like, God, it's so expensive to go over here and pay 2 different caps and all this kind of stuff. So, and then we had another agent that was great on my team here, but his wife was becoming a doctor, or is becoming a doctor. And so she had to do a residency in a place called Tri-Cities, which is about 150 miles from here. And so he wanted to move over there and start a team over there, an expansion team. I said, okay, great. Same thing. We had to deal with another market center and all these caps and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, and all these different rules that can we get an office or not? Well, you guys don't have any sales in this area, so you can't have an office. It's like, are you kidding me? And you can't have an office outside of our office. And it's like, oh my God. So, so basically that's when, I was talking to Devin and I don't know, it's just seamless with eXp. I can go to any city I want to and have the same cap rate, and the agent that has a cap rate here, and it's not like 2 different caps for 2 different areas. It's the same cap for the whole United States. So, so since then we've had, so just in a month, I've had an agent that left my team and moved to Florida. There's on a team over there. She's thinking about starting a team over there with us because we can do it now. We couldn't do it before. We've got a guy in another city in the state of Washington that just joined our team about a week ago that, that we can, that he'll be part of our team and we'll be in another city that, and I wasn't even considering those kind of things when I moved over to eXp. It was more of helping us grow to the 2 cities that we were thinking about, but also, the caps are lower for all my agents. They're lower for me. There's the stock options. And then I'm getting the revenue share from people on my team. So I'm able to change this cap splits or the splits on my team. So it's win-win for everybody. I'm doing better. The agents are doing better. And I think we can service our clients better.
I agree with all those, and eXp is doing better. We're happy to have you and your group on board. You mentioned, Devin and that whole group too. I mean, I think the one of the things I love the most is, I talked about productivity earlier. The other side of it is growth. But it doesn't matter if you're growing with bodies. It actually matters who you're growing with. The quality of the people that are coming, and you're a prime example of exactly that. In major markets, and I love hearing that. The expansion. Yeah, I think a lot of agents are the mindset is local, right? Because it's never been. I get real estate is local. It's a local business. But even though you might have a Washington state license, not everybody's doing business all over the entire state. Even if you're part of Washington, yes, I know that it's so close by with Coeur d'Alene. Some might have that multi-state license, maybe into Idaho, maybe into Oregon. But you're right. It's without the no pun intended red tape of being able to really take the top agent team. That's the name of your team, I know as well. Your top team, your top agent team, and being able to take that brand now and it be able to live in, like you're saying, Florida and Texas and California. Wherever you want it to be, if you want it to and right? Because some agents don't want that. Some agents might be perfectly happy doing the business maybe that you're also doing in their local market, and that's it, and that's okay too. So
and that's the other thing that Devin and Vlad have told me, and with Thrive, they've helped with this whole process, and they help us with the changeover and how we're going to start using KV Core instead of Boomtown and all this kind of stuff. But they're saying what they've mentioned, and again, there's things that you don't even think about before you move over to eXp. All the numbers made sense to me, but then all these extra things. And so like, basically it's kind of like I was a college athlete before, and now I'm a pro athlete because actually I'm making money off of my influence, because in the past, team leaders or whatever would have people talk to me about why it's great to be at Keller Williams. And it's like, right. And then they would move over to Keller Williams, but they wouldn't be in my downline, and they kept growing and I got nothing from it. Where here, people start asking me and they'll be in my downline and I'll actually get something for that, which is kind of nice to get something for your for your influence and what
Yeah.
you're doing. And right now in our area, I think there were only 20 eXp agents so far before we moved over. And actually we have about 30 agents. So now we've over doubled how many eXp agents are in Spokane, and people are getting curious about it. And so when they switched over, when they switch over and find out about it, because we have about 2,500 agents in our area. So we have a very little, or eXp has a very little penetration right now. But if that builds up, they're going to hopefully put us in their upline or whatever, and we can help them. They don't have to be on my team for us to help them. We have trainings and onboarding and role plays that anybody can join us with. And so we just want to, and we have an office. So if part of their reason is that they don't want to move to eXp because they want to be in an office environment, then we have one. Or if they want to have clients that they want to meet in the conference room, we've got that. So we can help them with that too.
Yeah, you made a good point there about what's the point I was getting to? I'm sorry, I'm drawing, the influence part of it, because of whether it's attracting to your team or not, right? There's still a economic benefit, which is really the key part, which is agent ownership, right? It's that you, like you said, in any other company, unless you're the actual owner and unless you're an investor into that office or brokerage, you're not the owner, right? It's revenues aren't being shared, or vice versa. If there's the need for a cash call, you would have to come to the table with some money as well.
Right.
This Glenn was a genius in creating in this model where every single agent, and even like you talked about now, where you might be helping out maybe some of the agents that your group is also talking to. Yes, there's still an economic benefit there directly to you, but there's also going to be an indirect benefit, because we're all partners, right? You just joined, you and I aren't in the same organization per se, but we're business partners now, right? Like you and your agents, they work for you on your team, but now you're also business partners in the eXp brokerage model. And so that's where there's an indirect benefit, is that the more successful, even a neighboring Spokane agent there, an existing agent that's already there, they're each and every single one of us are always rooting for each other's success, because again, being a publicly traded company and having ownership in the parent company, eXp World Holdings, there's that indirect economic benefit where we all want to see this company succeed, and then we all get to reap those benefits as well. So I think that, to me, that's where the magic happens. Having been at the Red Company before as well, it's you're right. It's very, it can be, I don't want to say it always is, but it can be very constrained because of its local. It's the handcuffs, if you will. Any franchise for that matter. Whatever the company is, it's usually geographically, most definitely usually geographically constrained. But there could be some other constraints that also come along with that. And the eXp model now provides you the ability then to, like I said, grow top agent all over the world soon, right? We're in Canada, over 1,000 agents now in Canada, which is, I know, a neighbor of yours.
Yes.
And also launching the UK and Australia, and a lot of other upcoming international opportunities. So, but you also touched you said there's only maybe now over 50 agents in the Spokane market now.
Right.
So, that's opportunity, right? I mean, I think you probably saw that yourself, because some agents say, well, I don't want to be the first one. You decided, I'm going to be a trailblazer, and let me jump in. Let me be one of the first ones in that market, right? So, maybe talk to that point a little bit, because maybe the mindset of other agents is, well, eXp is still small. Nobody knows that company. Want to touch a bit on that, on those that are thinking that?
Part of it is like you said, I talked to some other people that have joined eXp, 3-4 years ago. And when in their market at the time, there weren't very many eXp agents in their area. And because of that, people came to them with questions about it. And then they were able to build their downline, and I talked to about 6 people, and they're making anywhere from $200,000 a year to $5 million a year in downline profitability. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. So, I mean, let's say 100 or 200 in the next, and it's not going to happen in a month. It's going to happen over 3, 4, 5 years, but I can see a downline for myself and people on my team, the recruiters. You know, I can put if they're recruiting them and they, you know, because we're recruiting for our team all the time.
Right.
And so the problem is we recruit for our team, and then people say, well, I don't really want to be on a team because I'm already selling 20, 30, 40 houses a year on my own. I really don't need that. It's like, what else do you have to offer? And it's like, I guess you can go talk to the market leader, you know, in Market Center and go over to them. So now it's like you can still come to eXp and be in our downline, and we can still help you, and we can show you how to recruit other people and help you if you want to build a team and that type of thing. So it just seems a lot, there's a lot more opportunity here. And like the stock is nice too, because I'm putting, or I get 10% more on all stock I buy, and I can buy 5% on every commission check. And I know it's only been a month, but I've already had like 10 commission checks. So all that's going into eXp, and I see the stock has been growing like crazy the last week or so. It's like,
I saw that.
Probably because we moved over, I guess. I don't know.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure that's the actual reason. Yeah, you're right, because you're the point being you're like a broker owner without that risk, responsibility, and liability now, right?
Exactly.
That's not easy. It's very difficult to be a broker owner. The stress of it, you know, most people I meet don't want to be a broker owner. They just think that, like, and maybe this crossed your mind too, because you're an individual, then you hire your assistant, then you started to build this massive team, and you built up this massive group now, and the productivity, and it just kind of seems to be like, well, this is the next natural progression, right? Yeah. And so people think, well, I'm a top team now what? I've got to go open up my own company, I guess, right? You get to do that now with under the eXp umbrella, but without the cost, without a franchise, you know, that attached to you, and all the other stuff that may hinder your book of business, or may bring it back. I see a lot of top teams too when they're doing 300 plus transactions like you, and then they go become a broker owner, and all of a sudden now it's dipped, and they're doing like 50 transactions now, and they're making less money.
Yeah,
that's not.
And I even thought about that. I thought. Maybe I should just become an independent broker and do my own, but then of course I'd have to get licenses in the state of Idaho, but Washington I could do it. It's like, I'm a high D, and I don't want to deal with the headaches of running a brokerage and making sure all the paperwork's right for the state of Washington or whatever state it is, and following all the rules. I like having, you know, that you guys got a managing broker and all that kind of. I mean, I got my managing broker's license for this, but basically the questions would all come to me, where it's like, I'm not sure. Let's go to the broker for eXp and have them answer the questions. And she's already helped out on a few deals for us. So it's like, I just don't like that headache. I built my team to a place where I don't have to be there all the time, and I don't want to be there all the time. I probably work about, 15, 20 hours a week on my team, and they kind of run it for me. But I don't want to have to be a managing broker and check paperwork and make sure everything's paid right and all that. That just seems like a big headache to me that I don't. I'm more, building and selling, and helping our clients and helping our agents, not all the backdoor stuff.
Yep. Let those personality types handle that stuff. That's what they love to do.
Exactly.
So Mark, I guess before we kind of wrap up, in the transition, I know that there was some maybe a little hiccups along the way. But again, I sometimes can be expected. I get that. And I know it's only been 30 days. Any surprises so far that you'd say, hey, I came to eXp and I like this. These were attractive to me, but hey, I didn't know about this, and this is pretty cool. Anything, or was that the stock? I know you had talked about that prior. But I know now that you got 10 transactions under your belt, is that something that you're going, whoa, this is actually better than I thought it was going to be?
I think, I wasn't even, it's kind of a forced savings plan for me with the stock, getting 10% extra, and I just did it. And it's like, I'm not missing it right now, which is great. I'm just going to build up this other stock thing. Also, we're testing out KV Core over in Tri-Cities. We don't want to do it with our whole team because I don't want to do it with 25 agents. So I'd rather do it with 5. And so far it looks like we're really excited. Everyone's really excited about it. So that's going to save me a ton of money too, because I'm getting KV Core. I mean, for a team, it costs a little bit of money, but it's not, an individual, it's free. So, but
nowhere near the Boomtown prices, right?
It's like,
I'm a fan of Boomtown, but I'm a fan of Boomtown. but
Me too.
it's expensive, right?
But the more we're seeing about KV Core, it does everything that Boomtown does, plus more things. And so it's like, so that's kind of exciting too. We just started about a week ago, so we'll learn more about it, and we plan on, if it works out well there, then after the summer's over and our high season, then in the fall we'll probably switch our whole team over to it, save myself some more money, and give us better follow up for our team and everything.
Very cool. I love hearing about that. I'm looking forward to hearing about checking in on how that goes here then through the summer. Mark, this has been awesome. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing with us. And again, a huge welcome to eXp. We're happy to have you and your group on board. Looking forward to some big successes together. So thanks again for taking the time and joining us.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
Thanks. All right. Have a good one. And that is a wrap on another episode of HiiVE Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and give this episode a thumbs up if you like what you heard, and remember to subscribe for future episodes. You can also catch some highlights and other eXp news and industry buzz on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts.